Do you ever feel completely alone? Like, I can do this, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm doing? That's often how we feel when we're first starting a business. As a coach in business, often we're coming from an organizational framework or working for someone else. And then we want to be a coach and we want to open a coaching business. And suddenly it's just this huge sea of decisions in front of us and can often be overwhelming. Hi, I'm Meg Rentschler. I'm the host of the Star Coach Show. And on Tuesday Tips, I like to lean into a few things to think about in those common challenges that coaches have in front of them. As a coach, instructor, and a mentor for thousands of coaches over the past 15 years, I can say that one of the things that I hear repeatedly is how isolating it can be to start a business, to try to get traction and create the kind of income that we want to have doing the thing that we love, which is coaching. So, what I wanted to lean into today was the concept that you're not alone. It can feel very lonely, and you have choices to make choices about how you lean into the wisdom of others, how you lean into community, the choices that you make about where you get your information, and how you engage in this whole process of being a business owner. So, my Tuesday tips are often tied into whatever the show is that's going to go live on the Star Coach Show on Wednesday. Now, tomorrow, our new show is with a fabulous coach, Megan Huber, and she is going to share with us the way that she created her business not once, but twice. And sandwiched in between there, she made a decision to leave her own business and go work for a mentor in her business to learn and grow from that. And therefore, not only will you learn from Megan's journey in tomorrow's show, but she gives a beautiful example of how we can be intentional about learning from others as well. So, in our 3 tips today about leveraging the wisdom of others, the first tip I want to give you is that when we intentionally look for mentors, look for people that we can learn from, and be willing to ask those questions to gain wisdom from the path that they walked before us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel each and every time. We can actually gain from other people's experience. Now, that's why I created the Star Coach Show, because I knew that there were thousands of coaches out there willing to share their expertise and their experience in order to help the industry, to help new coaches, to help all of you flourish. And that's one of the ways that I would say you leverage the wisdom of mentors. You look for resources that are available to you that allow you to tap into other people's wisdom, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's on a YouTube channel, whether it's in a book or an article or a blog, as well as the people that you meet in person. So I know that when I went through the coaching program about 16 years ago, there were some instructors that I really wanted to learn from, that I did some additional training with, that I hired as mentors so that I could continue to grow and stretch and learn. When we think about the people who have walked the path before us, they've already hit some of the obstacles that we are going to hit. They might not have our exact path. However, what do you need to know? What clarity could you gain about the obstacles that are in your way to ask questions to help get those obstacles out of your way? So whether it is, the common things that people fall into, avoiding these pitfalls, making informed decisions, really accelerating your business growth. I will say that when I first started my business, at the time, 15, 16 years ago, I was transitioning from therapist into coach. So I had a full therapy practice. I wanted to build my coaching practice and reduce my therapy practice during that time. And there was a lot of different things I needed to think about. I knew how to build a therapy practice, but a lot of that came from insurance referrals and being on employee assistant program plans, things like that were different when I became a coach. So I wanted to learn from people who walked that path before me. And like I said earlier, I made some informed decisions about people that I knew, liked, and trusted that I wanted to get more information from. But I also read a ton of books. And at the time, YouTube and those kinds of things weren't as popular as they are now. But in general, I looked for where can I access other people's wisdom? And I encourage you to do the same. Some of the things that I hear that coaches really struggle with at first are things like, how do I get clear about who I want to niche to? What services I want to provide? How do I price my services? How do I continue to grow my skills at the same time that I am building a business? It can feel like there's so many things swirling around. And that's when leaning into the wisdom of people who have walked before you can be key. So that brings my second point. We want to leverage the wisdom of others through getting clear about what we need to know and what the gap is that's going to get us to where we want to be. But the second thing I want you to think about is in that path of leveraging the wisdom of others, think about building a strong network so that often those people that you meet and that you can have a coffee with or explore things with are through your networking. When I was a student going through my program, I joined my ICF chapter as a student. I went every single month. I met incredible coaches who were willing to talk over lunch and to share things that they did and share business sometimes. So think about what networking can do. Because often people think about networking as handing out business cards and asking for business. And yes, you go to networking events and you let people know because you can't be a secret and a success at the same time. That's my mantra. So we know that that you got to get out there and you've got to begin to share what it is that you do. But often networking with other coaches is a great way to learn about the industry, to learn about what works and what doesn't work. And I will tell you from my experience, often networking with other coaches is what's gotten me business. So I learned from people and this is the deal. It doesn't have to be people who are 100 miles ahead of you in the process. It can be somebody who is 10 miles ahead of you on the journey and what you can learn from. Another thing that you can do in this way of networking and leveraging combined knowledge is to create a mastermind or, with some people who are ahead of you and some people. So the thing about masterminding is that it's often the people who are ahead of you want to kind of be mentor or masterminding with people who are ahead of them. So that can be a little interesting to finagle when you're trying to do this. But think about who could you pull together in a group and do some masterminding and exploring to help you leverage the wisdom of others, leverage the experience of others, and help grow you on your journey. My third point today In addition to leveraging the wisdom of others and doing that through networking and growing and being a part of a chapter, another thing, isolation is not going to be your friend in this. Our ideas in our head just begin to, um, we can ruminate about them if we're not sharing them and getting new ideas and helping them grow. So, what can you do to potentially in your networking, even if it's joining a community? I always invite you to join and explore what's available at the Star Coach community at starcoachshow.com/community. We have a robust community that really supports and challenges its members to get traction and build in their business. And they have me as their mentor to kind of challenge them about things that are on the road ahead of them. So leverage the wisdom of others. Do that through networking. And the third thing is, my third tip for today is that through this leveraging wisdom of others, you can begin to embrace a spirit of experimentation. So I often say that when you are beginning your journey as a coach, you might have an idea of who you want to coach and who your your ideal client might be. And you might be surprised that it ends up not being who you originally think it is. So, part of this embracing the spirit of experimentation, which is what we want our clients to do, right? We ask them, what are you going to experiment with? What could you try? Well, in this experimentation, really look at both in business growth and in skill growth. What can you experiment with? What ideas can you bounce off of other people? And then lean into some experimentation to try different strategies, learn what works for you, and to go back to the ideal client situation. Who do you really enjoy coaching? So I recommend when you're first out of the gate as a coach, and especially when you're like in the process of learning and growing and in your training program as a coach as many different people as you can. Experiment with that and see, who is it that really lights me up? Who is it that I get results with? I bounce those ideas off of other people, off of other coaches, off of mentors, and begin to expand. Who is it that I really want to work with? You're not alone. There are many different ways to invite people into your world. And I will say that, if you consider hiring somebody, be sure that you're hiring somebody who is going to help you get to where you want to be. So be sure you trust them, and they're sort of on the path that you want to be, that they're at least ahead of where you are in the path, because that's kind of what the mentor process is all about. So as we roll through and wrap up today's Tuesday tips, I just want to reiterate, leverage the wisdom of others. You do not have to recreate the wheel. You do not have to figure it all out on your own. And when I first started, I think I tried that for longer than was probably beneficial to me, to just figure it all out myself. It's when I leaned into, who did I trust? Who did I want to hire? Who did I want to learn from? That I began, my growth as a coach really began to accelerate. Learning from others also through your network, learning from others by bouncing ideas off. Don't keep it all up here. It doesn't get clear and worked out if it's all stuck in your head. So create situations where you can begin to share and stretch your ideas through the sharing. And then finally, do that through experimenting. What do you want to experiment with? Whether it's a business practice, a way to use social media, the kinds of clients you want to coach, the kind of business you want to have. Do you want to do group coaching? Do you want to do individual coaching? All there are just so many decisions to make, but you don't have to do it alone. I do invite you to explore the Star Coach community if you would love to be in a community of like-minded, heart-centered people who are all walking this path together. That you can get more information at starcoachshow.com/community. Be sure to tune in to tomorrow's show. The new Star Coach Show goes live every Wednesday morning, and we're going to learn from a coach who's walked before many of you. Megan Huber is going to talk about how she has the lessons she learned in building her business, not once but twice. And then finally, as something else that might be of interest to you, and definitely in learning from coaches who have walked the path before us, I'm going to be going live tomorrow with two very experienced, very dynamic coaches Karen Hurt and David Dye of Let's Grow Leaders are going to be sharing their strategies, their tools for growing leaders, for challenging leaders, and facilitating growth in organizations. If you are dying to work in organizations, but you're just not sure what you would want to offer or how to even approach that, I just put a link in the comments for you to register for our live tomorrow. Karen and David are awesome. They were in front of my community, in the Star Coach community, and the community loved them. They shared some of the tools and the resources they have. It was wonderful. So they agreed to do a live with me for all of you who aren't in the community. And we're going to do that tomorrow at 11:30 Central Time, 11:30 a.m. Central Time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So just register at that link, and then you'll be able to hop on the live and join us and just get some ideas about how to best work with teams and leaders in organizations to really create impactful change with proven tools. So be sure to do that. Whether you're listening to this in the replay or listening live, go ahead and grab that link and register for our live tomorrow around facilitating change. So thanks for stopping in for Tuesday Tips. If you enjoy what we do at the Star Coach Show, please leave a comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or follow me wherever you're listening. And until next week's Tuesday Tips, this is Meg Rentschler wishing you the very best for your success. Have a fantastic week, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow in my live with Karen Hurt and David Dye right here on this channel. Take care.